All right, everyone. March 30th, 2023. Let's get this meeting started. I have myself here, John, Kathy, and Bill, Mark, Sean. We are missing unless she is on Zoom.
Looking fine.
Hmm?
You prefer?
I said John.
Don't see her right now.
Okay, well, hopefully Joanna can jump in at some point. Approval of prior minutes. Everyone get a chance to see those? Any questions?
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Wonderful. Officer reports. I just have a quick one here. We had a closed board meeting to discuss staff a couple weeks back. We did for a lot of different reasons, but at the end of the day, we did let go of our maintenance guy, JR. We do have a contractor in by the name of Jeremy that has been taking his place. He was here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We've also hired Troop 911, who is cleaning up dog stations. And so far, Jeremy hasn't been here, but what, 2 days? Just
2
this
days.
week, right?
Yeah.
How's it been so far?
Great.
Right?
We've already got things done.
Knocking down everything that we needed to do. So we wish JR the best of luck, and it was just time to part ways. If anyone's interested in a deeper conversation about that, please let me know. I can have that one. Any other officer reports?
Treasurer's report.
Treasurer?
So I've been producing these overviews on a monthly basis for people to see where we are financially for each area. Just a quick explanation, so she's in phases. The first column is the actual balances for the moment in our bank accounts. And the second column is what homeowners still owe us for dues for this past whatever duration is. It's actually gone down substantially, and I hope you guys can see that we're actually collecting better with the help of our new collection company and the Mencken Law Group. We've been collecting much better, so that's looking better overall. The prepaids are considered a liability, so when you prepay us for dues, we can't spend it until that month it applies to, so it stays out of our income bracket until we can spend it. And then we have some I calculate 2 months expenses in the bank account to make sure we have enough to spend for 2 months in any given situation. So that's fourth column is. So the new column that's been added this time is an uncleared payables, and that's because we had to pay our prepaid insurance for the year, which ended up being about $34,000 total. In addition to that, there's an outstanding sum owed to a couple debts that are included in this, including myself. So the so that's what that number comes up to be. So we also had taxes payable for this year, which is about $3,000. So that's the total on that sum. The $4,000 you see in Westlake is the planting of the potted carpets, which are been ordered and on their way to be installed. So that was the quote that I got from the best bid that would plant 350 10-gallon pots in a day or so. So that's what you're seeing there. So the last column shows what we can is basically spending money that we have over and above what we're obligated to, if that makes sense to you. So our operating funds, we have about $8,500 operating funds for the match that we can spend for other things that we weren't planning on at the moment. The other three areas are actually still running in the red. And the reason they are is because some of them are catching up from an overage from last year that we're still trying to catch up on. And Westlake has a small budget, so the planting took a good chunk of money out of their account and put them in the negative number for this month. Obviously, that changes each month as we collect. So Sandpiper Crest has a surplus of money because they have been selling more units, and I think we have 2 left. Is that correct? 2 units left to sell there. When they sell, that money will start chipping away a little bit at a time because we won't be getting any stop of money from new sales. So that's what you're seeing here. The reserves are below, so this is our reserve funding at the bottom, and then we have some prepaid payroll, which I put in every quarter. So there'll be another chunk taken out of the quarterly, will come out of the expenses, and it starts to balance again. Hope that makes sense. It's a little easier way to look at what we can really spend. So it gives the last column is what the board looks at to see, do we have money to spend on this item this month? That's really what it's for. Any questions, folks?
Sean, if I may, so on the reserves down here,
Yes.
is there any way of saying this is what we have
And this
and
is-
what is expected or what we're required to have from our
That's
survey?
exactly what we have and required to have.
So we're on track with
We're on
the
track at the
requirements.
moment.
Okay, that's what.
It's an automatic transfer. I do it before I pay any bills.
So this is matching what the professional reserve study we had. We're on track.
Exactly. Perfectly on track at the moment. We are not behind in any way on the reserves.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, you have in here $60,000 for scheduled monthly expenses. Could you please explain that?
It's monthly expense. If you look at the footnote, it's actually 2 months. It costs about $30,000 a month to pay the bills and safety.
What exactly are we paying?
Landscaping, water, reserves, any.
Reserves is what you're, basically that's the approval for the roofing in the future and painting, that's what you're talking about?
Reserves are for any asset that we have to replace or repair because their useful life expires and sometime in the future, that is correct.
Okay, so. Well, according to this, it looks like paying $50,000 a month just for expenses,
No, that's 2 months.
2 months.
2 months.
It doesn't break down that one here.
It does.
Yes, it
It
does.
says 2 months at the bottom. of
If
the-
you look at the key at the bottom, sir, it says 2 months basis average. By the asterisk, the single asterisk.
Okay,
It's based on 2 months of the actual budgeted expenses. That's what it is. Not what we're going to spend, but what we budgeted to spend.
yeah, I'm just curious, maintenance and stuff, what was that? Oh,
I don't have the breakdown for line by line. It's actually in the budget.
That's what I'm like.
Okay, it's
Yeah, that's-
it's in the budget. You can download it on the website. It's there for you to see
What is it?
under finances. Financials, right there.
All of that?
Yes,
Under finance.
financials. If you go to the repository, we keep all the documents. The budget's published there.
Okay, I've got a couple finance, so.
If you want to, after the meeting, I'm glad to show
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Sean.
Anyone else, questions?
Under security committee next.
I'm sorry? Yes, 3.45% at the moment.
Officers report. I'm sorry, community managers report.
I got you. The assistant community manager.
All right. The community manager report for Thursday, March 30th, 2023. The landscape committee has met with all 3 landscaping bidders and is attending a drive of the communities. The committee will have a recommendation for the board. The trumpetry has been planted at the lake house. According to Tom from Sunrise Landscaping, the tree should be blooming by mid-year. The bridge connecting the playhouses has rotted and needs repair. JR replaced the bridge of the one that was falling out of the bottom of the walkway. There is still another piece of the other bridge that needs to be fixed. There is discussion about removing the entire playground and replacing it. This is a reserve expense. I have met with another pressure washer company to submit a proposal for the cleaning of the retaining wall on Colonial Glen and Sagewood and the paired village section. The best time for pressure washing is late March, early April to keep the mold from growing back before the year is up.
This year.
Specific to Sagewood, there are multiple proposals for replacement that have been tabled since last month and will be on the agenda this month. As of now, Sunrise is going to schedule the erosion control to be done in April. Pool maintenance. The compressor at the lap pool is not working correctly, the heater. The temperature has changed drastically from 47 degrees to 93 degrees from day to day. Patty has reached out to the pool company and was told to reach out to Geothermal Company in Inglewood to have it looked at. They were on site the 21st and will be back to confirm the compressor's heating systems. Excuse me, they will be back to confirm that the compressor in the heating system is not working correctly. The West Lake fence. The irrigation drip line was installed by Ballinger Irrigation and the plan should be installed next week for the completion of the fence line. Maintenance matters. There has been a request from the weekly billiards team to have a better working fan installed before the summer. We will task the new maintenance person to provide this information and present to the board. Patty's in the process of getting a proposal from a handyman company to install ceiling fans like the ones that are in the back of the lake house. And lastly, there's a broken shutter that was kicked out at the pool. And a handyman is going to figure out how best to repair this without having to replace the entire shutter. The proposal will be presented early next month due to the locating and creating the small tabs that have been broken. This concludes the manager's report.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Patty. All right, we would have the maintenance report. Patty, do you have anything you want to add to that? I know it's all brand new and we don't have too much going on at the moment.
Not
Karen's
yet,
getting
not
speed
yet.
wet.
We put up the signs for the Easter egg hunt. We cleaned up quite a bit. In the pool house and then down here. Yes, we cleaned out the stuff that was in the maintenance room as well.
If possible, I'd like the new maintenance personnel to attend the meetings and brief us on what has been fixed, what still needs to be fixed, and what they need to do their job. I agree.
On the note of the departure of the employee, his final paycheck was deposited this morning.
Committee reports.
The manager's report covered the committee for West Lake about the plans, so we're pretty much on track with that.
We don't have Johannan. I know we have Easter events this Saturday. We are also having a few food trucks. I believe there's one food truck and 2 dessert trucks that are gonna be out.
Oh,
It's
okay.
appropriate.
Okay.
They were able to get something out last minute. I think there's 2 ice cream trucks, but you know what? We're gonna have a lot of kids.
Right.
Probably-
To speak to Johannan's half on this, she was looking for volunteers that could come 2 hours out to help put out the eggs and also control the crowd before they start collecting the eggs before we get the buzzer. So anyone who wants to do that, please come there about 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Perfect. Committee reports, I think we have John. Yep. Security.
So, been about 2 months and been a lot of going back and forth with law enforcement. And contacted our legal representation on a few things. The guys and I decided that it's best with the current budget that we have to focus on the after hours patrolling and the pool and lake house issues. The parking as it regards to the free current pool hours is going to be a lengthier process to get anything in place. Because with 2 deputies, 1 to stack yesterday, and 1 during spring break. It's not as easy to get set because of this being county owned. So it's gonna be more required working with the schools, communications, and if we can get signed, we can. What they stated was HOA actually has more strength when it comes to smaller issues as such. They don't seem that as a priority for the force right now. Right now, I was told for Division 4 or Hillsborough, which is Division 4, we only have 4 motor deputies assigned to this county. And that's quite an extensive area to cover. So, I think I had posted it on the HOA page on Facebook. I took the initiative to see to help out until we get something, but just during the week of spring break. The first 4 nights I had 5 incidents. Smoke weed, underage drinking, and then also there were reports of sexual activity going on in the bathroom and the pool house. So, there's going to be recommendations. We don't have exact numbers right now, but we're looking at the cost to get off-hour policing. So when they want to pick up extra hours for the police, it's a 3-hour minimum, it's $37 per hour. And if we want the patrol or we want them to do a stakeout situation where they just stay parked, it's 25 cents per hour on the engine. Or if they want to go back and forth and just patrol the area, 3 hours, or during one day. So that's $1 extra per mile. It's not going to be a huge thing. So that to us is more cost effective We don't have findings yet, there's not gonna be elected to that one. And then Jason, he's looking into the possibility of, license plate and additional, facial recognition videos. So, video cameras, sorry, and it's a standalone solution that would require this, whole installation, and it's the work. And recovery battery that lasts like I think it said 2 to 3 years. Having said that, I think, I don't know how effective it's gonna be, but quarterly, maybe some safety tips and tricks from the HOA report on that page. People don't think, how others think as far as preventing as much as you can. So take a big battery cars, not park on the street at night, those type of things. That have been brought to attention, but the police themselves have alluded to the fact that it's not an urgent issue for them. So it'd be best to even work with, they said, with the, bear with me, I have a lot of notes, I'm not gonna read them all, but to work with the, community resource deputies. So that's different from the after hours. So we can work with them, if there's any, resident cops that live here, they can assist, but it's still incur costs to them, so. We did make a suggestion too for the, I guess the bomb show that got damaged for it, that got kicked in front. And an option that we looked at that is to replace that with some fencing the way it looks around the perimeter. So it's a little bit more sturdy structure, not like while keeping the aesthetics in mind. There was a quote to even look at the possibility of raising the fence to a higher height. Prevent the key to the scale where it's not on an outside floor. So on top of that, it was quite an expensive extension. That was $88. So recommendation for that would be to add additional lighting, possibility along the pool to add more of a floodlight activation once light brings attention and people that want to do activity. So those are a few things that we're working on. Recommendations. But just you have a smart, they already. There's just kind of like a pool.
Which is good and not good, right?
Yeah.
It's good that you're being noticed as a deterrent, but it's bad that you're the deterrent.
Right, so if you have a few on site, I think that would be. And with all these social media and once all that comes, once they know that they're here to say. They're flooded with this type of call. See, they already started busting more speed before we just, yeah, they were, they didn't people. Trying to see what the here. So they did a lot of things. I think they said, more residents. And then something like. The whole of them were trying to be for. So, in a way, something. So, but I forgot the word's name. He did ask us where the streets and where the houses. But he pushed up instead of more of a legal thing at that point. And he trying to get someone's ears doing the issue that instruction or right now then it could be a fine to that resident. Sure. So you gotta notice that issue over to us and we got now a full house transportation points. Now uniform, they're coming in space. You see someone that they don't live here, they can take them away from them. So that wasn't an option before. Now we don't have to renew. There's magic marker out. Once we're registered with the HCFO, we're good to go. So now all we have to do is see that magic and get that full house. So there's some progress, it's just a matter of what's going to cost and what's going to be more effective, to help out. You don't want to start something else and not work. Any questions, comments?
I just have one thing to add, and maybe it may be something for the committee to look at, maybe something for the committee and Patty to look at. We're going to require a pool attendant at some point. The pool gets crazy rowdy, summer's coming around the corner. It's gonna be a big problem. I'm not exactly sure how to handle that in a proper manner, but I know that that option probably sits within your budget.
I've said in the past, like previous neighborhood that we had in, the South National, Tennessee. They actually paid for the lifeguards, but they were old, so there's no, you get someone 30, 40, and the kids don't know what to do. But if there's rules in place that you have to adhere to, let's say sometime spring break, whatever the case may be, school usage or people not doing what they're not supposed to do, then you know, just more senior person.
No, I agree. If that's a route that security committee thinks we should go, it's a route Patty suggests we go, then we just need to know what's a dollar amount to put on that. Because we've done the low balls in the past. Never really paid off on us, so you're right. I agree. So trying to hire a college kid sounds like a great idea, but ultimately I think it doesn't.
One of the other things that got to for the current video situation where they're appointed, legal employees cannot use that. So if it was a case where we have cameras out looking for street birds, county roads, I looked at the map yesterday, so I got those more county maps now, we have more county roads than it is. So that's another thing to consider, is having to work with the transportation signs that we put up where, so there's a lot of gray areas. So we want to put out those signs that we what we can do is have to get it. And so I took it by yesterday, because I found to go up there, the hour and see. Showed the deputy yesterday where street names and that street school, little to the roundabout. And then they're parking right before the main there. So the parking police, and then you got the actual. The other issue was the resources because of the deputies. Deputies. Way. That's the county, not just. I don't know this literally the law, but I will present them.
Lots of questions, but I'd like to see your notes first.
So,
I said, I've got a lot of questions, but I'd like to see the notes first. So,
Yeah,
let me answer most of them, yeah.
Thanks, John.
I would like to say thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
Thank you very much.
I think it's Slate Rock is what you're talking. Slate Rock is directly at the roundabout. I live on that alley to the left. Right, west of the dog park. You can't even get up there, right, block both lanes, right? You can't even go down the street at all.
that, so that's actually legal, but what they're, again. We're not really. So that's another thing, but it's one of those that's knowing.
Maybe we can use zoning for next week.
Yeah, I think they dropped that discussion for this year. They postponed the school. But and to lose that, if it was to have a EMS services or disrupted in the path to get somewhere, that's another reason to start looking into that.
Yeah, my son wants to. Also, that was kind of meetings. And it's all one by the and he just can't do that. The only other question I have in Wesley, one of our our street that faces that neighborhood. At nighttime, there's, individuals jumping that fence from this way, so I don't know. It started to stop when the federal cop was parking there, for speed, kind of stopped, but
Yeah, and so to add, I forgot to mention it too, I registered for a stealth stat box, which registers speed, but it doesn't record video, so the stat box, but they put it in the correct place without asking to put it. Because what that does is collect data on speed of time and average. The shocking news is over 85% of the traffic must be deemed speeding for us to go forward with speed table or speed bumps to be installed. Second thing that I found was nonsense is they haven't updated their pamphlets since 2006 for the road division. To add, they have not had budget for over 2 years paid for the speed bumps or the speed tables, so it's not visually. And if we decide to go that route.
Thanks, John.
Express.
Okay. Thank you, John. We'll move on. Table items, you want to talk about any of that, too?
Not this time.
no.
Old business, nature coast cleanup, phase 1, 2, and town cleanup. We talked about this last month. I wanted to push it a month. Kathy's back, and I wanted to look at our finances and see what we look like in comparison from last month to this month.
And our biggest thing is we need to get on her schedule,
Right.
Yes.
so we won't pay it for another month and a half, well, within a couple of weeks after.
We got a reason pay for permitting.
It's $86.
Yeah, I just say.
I know. She called me back the other
I
day.
need to speak up a little bit. People can't hear you.
Sorry, is that a little better? More, can you speak?
So what Patty was saying is that we need to get on Nature Coast schedule to
If
get
they
these
get busy.
trees. Yes,
Okay.
because, and we need to have this done prior to hurricane season. So,
Thank you.
So we,
Remember that we have.
that front cost will be the permits, which will not be astronomical.
no, the permits themselves, I believe, are $85, $86, under $100.
Right.
So
That's nominal. And then we can schedule it for whatever month we think we're going to have the
Actual
resources coming
funding.
in,
exactly,
which would be probably not later than May, what I think, otherwise you start pushing it to hurricane season. Right?
right.
Can we afford it in May?
Probably. Tree trimming our budget, tree trimming for our budget for the year is $20,000, and that is peaking it out.
That-
So,
was
I'm
gonna
gonna basically spending it in one pass without any room for movement, so just. But we have the budget for it, it should be available again in that 2 months projection, obviously it'll be amortized over the year for the next part of it, but yeah, share the money.
Now, so we're interested in doing phase 1, 2, and the palm tree trimming?
Not the palm tree.
Not the palm,
Not the
just
palm
phase
tree.
1 and 2, right? Wasn't sure. I put it on there because I had.
Do any of those have projectiles with them though? I mean, that's the other thing about palm trees. If they're coconut palms, you've got to get the coconuts down.
They were
I'll
actually
get in
trimmed,
there for another two, so.
they were actually trimmed by Sunrise.
Okay.
The palm trees were trimmed, so. So when you're talking about, Patty, when we need to, we have phase 1 and phase 2. Are you talking about needing to do both of them before hurricane season? Okay,
Which those trees are.
So 15.5. Yeah.
15, okay,
15.5, yeah.
and
We got 20 in the budget, so we should be fine with that for May. What I can tell, it should be fine.
So I would make a proposal,
Motion.
make
a
a
motion that we authorize them to get the permits. And we coordinate with them to execute in May at the $15,500 price.
Second,
second.
all those in favor?
Patty.
Any opposed? Beautiful, motion carried.
I was supposed to spending money, but I don't get it.
You don't get a vote.
That's on purpose.
All right, we have up new business, Sagewood landscaping proposals.
I make a motion to approve.
All four? Anyone have a chance to take a look at them?
That's why I said approve.
All of these are in the hundreds now.
Yeah, it's less than $800 total. It's the maintenance cost.
Small amount of money.
Definitely doable financially.
So my motion stands, like motion that we approve. it.
But we're 34
we're gonna continue to do that till probably July, but remember, that's 2 months projected out, so by that time, it'll bottom out. We're not talking about $1,000 here, we're, talking about a small amount of money.
But what we are talking about is the erosion control.
The erosion
Gonna do
control
April.
that we approved, and that's gonna be coming, we've already, we have, yeah,
Well, that's also gonna be contingent on this conversation too, a little bit, right?
no, we've already approved it for them to come in and
And
do
then the
that.
tree line trimming.
Okay, so talking with Tom this week in a landscaping meeting, he's willing to do that and then ride the invoice for a month or two is what he told me. So we can stretch that out till July, which is not as, as contingent as the trimmings for everything else, but I think that'll work. You get the other ones approved and go ahead and push forward for April. We told them April, right, on the mulch, on
The
erosion
the
control.
erosion control, you did,
so it's April.
yeah.
So that should work out fine. We won't get the bill till June and it should work out fine.
What's Sagewood delinquency there?
Sagewood delinquency is 11, let's see, no, Sagewood's actually paid in full at the moment. No delinquencies.
I'll second Mac's motion to approve all board. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Sagewood power washing, okay, so hey, you have a third one that came in?
Don't have two.
You have two, Kings and, right? Okay,
Mm,
which,
I have a question. There's like $12,000 difference.
yeah.
between-
Yeah.
I actually have a little bit of a statement here, if I, correct me if I'm wrong, but this isn't just Sagewood, this is a little grouped in where this is Sagewood and the retaining walls over in Colin Black.
That's what the King's pressure wash there, but he's not supplying his own water. Which is a big difference. So, or Green Earth is the one that did it last year. And everybody was happy.
At that rate.
$12,000,
We actually
$14,000.
spent like $10,000 last year.
That's, I found their invoice, I thought.
It was $9,800 and some odd dollars last year that we spent on that. It wasn't 12.
It's the water. It's the water. Do we know Kings from anywhere?
He is that's how I found Jeremy. So he's related. He's young.
Mhm.
I don't know how long it would take him to get it done.
Do you have any references for him?
Not yet.
So we would pay for the water, so we would have to know how many gallons.
No,
It becomes a bigger problem. We had that problem. with the guy
With
from
Westlake.
Westlake. I was in there.
People got upset because somebody used the water in their house. I actually had
Right,
them
yeah,
hook up to
you can't
my
do that.
house and paid for like 5 houses out of mine. So,
It's taking the less cranky person who's unaware and not idiot about it, which I would be myself at the time,
Yeah, no.
looking up to their house and doing the whole neighborhood.
Well, then I think what we need to do is go back and say he has to figure out a way to get his own water, and then we have apples and apples. Otherwise, we have apples and oranges and.
I agree. My opinion is, you don't need to go back. He can't do it. He doesn't have the tankers for it. Let's find the company.
Okay, that's a good answer.
That we are comparing apples and apples. That was my question. Can we hold off another month and try to get at least another quote?
Yes. It looks good over there. It's these.
Yeah, I'm actually an advocate of not having to pressure clean every single year. It seems like a waste of water and time, but I think even pressure cleaning people tell us every other year is probably pretty typical. But we've been doing it every year, so I guess it's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, Sagewood, yes, the retaining wall hasn't been touched.
No,
It's
that I
new.
that I agree with. That I agree.
I
Yeah.
agree with.
Okay, so we're gonna hold this till next month.
We're gonna table this till next month. Let's get a few more quotes and Patty, if you can separate Sagewood from the retaining wall.
Everything, absolutely.
They're built differently, so.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Belger maintenance proposals next.
And we have Ken here
Hi,
today.
Dave. I haven't been on top of this. My question is. These are just maintenance proposals for all communities, correct?
Right, the quote comes in to maintain and, kind of do small repairs, but also really test the systems on a regular basis. Bellinger is, of course, an irrigation company, not a landscaping company. We're getting that service, or supposed to be getting that service, which we have self-admitted at this point this week by Tom that we aren't getting the service we are paying for that they're really not doing the job. He's apologetic about that, but nothing he can do. It's not his department. I get that, but, we're having problems with grass dying and things falling apart again. And, you know, we just can't afford to keep replacing plants. So Ballinger was working on the property, don't help me out here. You started with us, right? When the neighborhood was started up in, originally we were working with Rosetta. So Gail has personal knowledge of the property as well as her team does, and it's something that seems like it would be a cost savings. It is double of what we were budgeted for, just to let you know. So it comes from contingency. But I have strong feelings that we need someone who can actually do irrigation as opposed to a landscaping company that says they're going to do it and pay them for nothing.
Will there be an offset from the landscaping proposals that we're looking at?
The
There,
answer is absolutely not. There's no savings in the landscaping proposals. There will be an offset from, if you took out that component. From all of them, yes, but as far as we're not gonna be saving any money on landscaping to offset the increase on Gail's part. So the $10,000.
that wasn't his question. His question was, is that
It-
reducing the price?
Oh, absolutely, I'm sorry.
Correct, there'll be an offset that if we are paying for something we're not getting right now, then on the proposals that come through, say, there'll be no maintenance on irrigation, there has to be
It goes away completely.
whatever percentage that is.
Yeah.
And, right. So that would help make a decision.
So Gail, could you explain how you work with the landscaping company as far as if the sprinkler heads are, you know, broken by the maintenance crew, or there's a drip line that's cut, or how does that get repaired? Who gets billed? Who's paying for that repair?
I'm sorry, just because there's one segue that might be important here before she with that. Are we committed to move forward with separating fertilization, irrigation, and landscaping? Because otherwise we're burning a lot of time on questions for Gail, because Gail is landscaping. I'm all for Ballinger doing it. I think they're fantastic, but are we committed to doing that first?
So I think we need the numbers to make that decision.
Right.
I'm inclined to be that way because it makes sense. If we're not getting something we're paying for now, even if you pay more for it, it's
Okay.
probably better service.
I see it a little different, but okay. I see it as the numbers fall where they're gonna fall. But you need to make your route choice first, right? You pick what dealership you want to buy the car from, then you pick what model you want. So the point is, what I'm saying is, if we're committed to separating the three functions, then we're not even going to consider anything that is self-included.
See, I disagree with you.
You
You
do.
pick your model and then you go to pick your dealer. So.
Yeah. So let me
It might be burning a ton time.
yeah, well, no, let just be clear. So so the true green, was that the other one in there? So that is and it's a question I had when I went through there. So they have broken out their pest and fertilizing costs. So if we go with True Green,
Right.
then all of those 72,000, 69,000 and $36,000, if I remember correctly, comes out pretty close, right? Within
Right.
$300.
You're very close, yeah.
So those come out of the,
They come out of the
That
landscape.
comes out
so,
of
so we,
landscape.
we know that offset, but we don't know what the offset is, at least when I looked at the figures for what was irrigation.
Yeah,
Is
we
it-
do.
Isn't it?
I thought we
Okay,
did.
I
Yes, we do.
didn't catch that.
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
It's about, like I said, about half of, the offset will be half of what Ballinger's going to charge.
so we're gonna save about 40,000 or plus or minus 45,000 out of the landscaping proposal.
It's gonna be, the landscaping proposal for the maintenance on the one we're budgeted right now is around $10,000 a year, almost 11,000 and change for
Right.
all three properties, all the
it's-
properties.
1/9 or 10% of what we're talking about.
Well, Ballinger's quotes are not,
Yeah, I
Ballinger,
think what you're saying is the opposite. So going with Ballinger is going to be 50% an increase.
50% increase
A 50% increase.
I get $97,000 here. on the
from
proposal.
Ballinger.
Am I looking at Ballinger?
That's not the numbers that I remember seeing on. the
I have an overview.
This is,
Yeah. This is Ballinger's quote here. across-
Sagewood,
is
32, Westlake, 36, Villas, Pear Villas, 25, Sandcracker, is that the numbers we're talking about?
I didn't think.
I'm sorry,
Could be mistaken, let's see. I'm looking at
No.
$16,800 a change.
Yeah, down at the bottom,
16, down at the bottom,
So for these numbers then for annual inspections, monthly costs.
from each of the.
each and every, individual landscape.
The landscapers numbers. You total those up together, actually.
I see 2,650 prepared in TV.
Matter right now, then.
Hmm?
I matter right now.
Actually, since she has a spreadsheet in this.
I think anything is done.
It's $2,600 for Sagewood. That's a monthly cost, correct?
So you're looking at
No,
about $5,600 per month for Ballinger to do paired villas, Sagewood, and Sandpiper Crest.
Well, then I don't understand these proposals at all. I'm looking at an irrigation maintenance proposal for Sagewood, and in the back it says contract amount is $2,660 per month.
Correct.
Times 12 puts it in the $25,000 range.
Right, so I added up Sagewood is that, then I added Sandpiper Crest and paired villas, so per month is about 5,600 per month for those 3 service areas.
don't forget Westford.
And see a West.
There's, it's like.
There's a
$100 change.
36. So I'm 32, 36, 25, and 31 are the numbers I'm coming up with.
Right, well, we're talking about monthly, and I think you're talking about annually, correct?
All right, let me repeat. I have $2,660 per month for Sagewood. Right, times that out, it's $31,920. Westlake is $300 a month, that's $3,600. Paired Villas, I see at $2,100. That comes out to $25,200. Sandpiper Crest is $972 a month, that comes out to $31,100. And if you add, I have $5,220 of some kind of maintenance costs, annual inspections, that's for the lake house, the pool, and the dog park. You add all that up, I'm coming up with $97,044. If my numbers don't work, my numbers don't work.
No.
So if we're only saving
talking about
10,000 out of
why
the
we're-
landscaping, then that's only 10% of what the cost is.
10,000 for PVE for the year. Contracted services, for irrigation, 4,613, that's 15.
Please don't get me wrong, Gail, I think you did great work. But like I said, on the CBD meetings and everything else, this is not reflective of you in any way. shape, or form.
No,
No,
I've chatted,
yeah, I'm okay, yeah, I'm okay with doing this if that's what we need to do. I just want to make sure I've got the numbers right before I make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, Sandpiper Crest would have been, we budgeted $9,099.36 for the year. Westlake, was, $3,500. Sagewood was, $4,613. PV was $10,515.24 to be exact. And our master for the contracted services is 15,288. So if you total that up, it's
43,000.
yeah, 50%.
Okay.
Just.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Okay.
I heard 10,000.
Oh,
well, that's because he was.
let's talk about the monthly.
It's a monthly over here, 10,800.
Okay,
How much is the current landscaping company charging us?
That's what's the numbers. That's exactly what's on those numbers. I just came up with about $45,000.
So the current company starting at $45,000 a year
Yes,
to do irrigation.
yes.
stupid question, but that number, does that include all the sprinkler breaks, the head replacements? all?
That's just the inspection.
That's
Just making sure the system works.
There's a huge numbers involved in just the replacement after that. They have been given autonomy to replace anything under $300 without us.
And then, so the maintenance quotes on Gale, does that include any type of sprinkler head replacement when they're broken? Is that an additional charge?
It's gonna include, replacing some nozzles, some, one or two broken sprinkler heads. Get into something where you had a lawnmower, somebody run over, and that span was in that spot. Included.
Yeah.
Yes. Broken head here or there, nozzles, root tube, that kind of thing. So we get into something.
That's cute, there.
Yeah.
So,
That's on
So,
page,
so
that's on,
that's my question, was getting.
great, no, I'm sorry, yeah, there's-
but that's on page 2, it's under, you know, that's what you mentioned, maintenance, regular maintenance, the second sentence is locating, repairing, replacing automatic valves, wire control wires, irrigation controllers, zone pipes 2 inches and larger, through vandalism, repairs, acts of God, or utilities is additional charge. Right, so. And then there's freeze protection is also extra, so it's not.
okay, I'm sorry, Kathy, yeah, you can ask me a question again, I thought I was saving.
Okay, we'll go back. So, yeah. How does it, what is the process between Ballinger and whatever landscaping company we choose to use? To, repair, I mean, who gets billed for the repairs on sprinkler heads, cut drip lines, etc.? And do you, especially if a mower rolls over it, not the-
Caused by the landscaper.
that is, it's caused by the, not the homeowner.
That typically what happens is we would bill it to the HOA, and then you would seek reimbursement from the landscape. If you want to try and have something, excuse me, a meeting in advance and say, look, you know, if you run over 6 heads because they happen to be stuck up and we know that you did it, how bound you're having to replace it and you pick up the tab, then we can, you know, we can bill them directly as long as there's some kind of a written agreement that says with this kind of a repair, this is what we do.
Just to throw some fuel on the fire here, we spent over $50,000 in repairs last year, and we have budgeted 38.5 this year for repairs, in addition to the service that we got.
That's what I was, that's kind of where I was getting at. We actually spent more than that $43,000 that we're comparing the two. So we're not really comparing an apple to apples here, price wise versus service.
But I would say that we're going to maintain that cost because there's still gonna have to be, unless it's built into the landscaping contract, that they have to absorb a certain percentage of broken budgets, that's still gonna be a cost.
Mandate that it's built in, that they will absorb 100% of all broken.
This year's a positive back charge.
That's fine, with me.
Make sure that Dale, you see something that's broken, it's a broken head, and you suspect it's from a landscaper. I want to make sure that the building comes across extremely obvious that we can see it and go, oh, this is a landscaping bill, where that goes.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it's a separate conversation.
So we can afford this out of contingency this year?
Yes, we have 104,000 in contingency. We haven't spent any of it yet, but we're planning to, I'm pretty sure.
So we take about half of our contingency here.
No, I mean, technically, if you took the repair budget for the incidental repairs, because none of these are major repairs that we did, they're all heads and bodies that she's saying is mostly included. It may not be that much, but yes.
Okay. I think it is.
I mean, we had what was it, the pump head or whatever it was over in Sagewood that.
That's a different.
Yeah, that's a major maintenance.
Yeah,
repair.
That's a
but
major repair, and then we end up doing it out of reserves. So, yeah.
All right, so
So my next question is, do we want to vote on this now, or should we wait till we look at the landscape?
I think it's a package.
I would recommend that we plan on have a special meeting where we can sit down, an open meeting, but we sit down, we go through the landscaping. And then we match it. And we do that number here, instead of in this venue, we sit down and we have an operational meeting. It's open, anybody can come that wants to come, but then we can sit down with this and go by line by line. I mean, I went through it. But, you know, I think we need to, almost like a mini budget meeting, because this is a very large ticket
It's
item
a third of
for,
our budget.
Yes,
at least.
No, it's a third. Exactly, yeah.
Do we think we should just book a meeting for next week? We sit down, it's just gonna be irrigation and,
Landscape. And,
landscaping.
yeah, but they just come up, I mean, I know how I'm feeling it, but I think we're just gonna be a labor, we got a lot else to cover.
landscape meeting, so I'm all for it. I have to be trained from the people who were.
Yeah.
Sean, so.
Does that make sense? Does anybody? All right.
Yeah.
And
Okay, do we want to do Monday night for that? Tuesday night?
I have to go look
And-
at
and-
the.
One more night.
I don't think you would need to come to this next meeting. You know, if that makes sense, that we already understand what their proposals are.
Well, do we have any questions
Well,
about the units?
I don't want to make them come to another meeting.
I do have questions for Dale, but it's not related to this. If you have something related to this, I have questions related to the controller upgrades that are also.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the controllers.
So I think that's a
So,
better way to go, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a maintenance and,
That's,
Right.
yes, but as far as, the annual maintenance, if we're understanding it correctly, you will be, not you personally, but
That's fine.
Ballinger will be, coming out, doing monthly inspections and inspecting by, and I mean, turning on the system, making sure that all the heads are working properly. They're not spraying into the street. They're, with the drip lines, the guys, when they, were working around the pool, discovered the drip lines have been cut for months and nothing was done. So,
Well, we knew that one mushy part for the longest time. That's all there.
well, yeah, I know by the pool, there's that one area by the sidewalk that is like a marsh. Cause I walk my dogs there all the time, but
Oh, and if somebody calls and says, hey, they just trimmed something, they trimmed some things and then, 4 or 5 cuts in the year too. Call us and we'll make sure that the next time the guys are out, they go there first, or if we've got somebody in the area. We're gonna do it.
I could just. In the corner of Oak Ridge, we're watering the sidewalks again. If there's anything, I know you've been in this community for a long time, but from a resident point of view, the number one thing that drives us nuts is when we're watering pavement. It's happening a lot, and to your defense, I understand you don't get the call, so you won't know that we're watering the pavement, which is why it's very important that we do those checks properly when the cuts are out here, because we are watering pavement all the time.
And
So,
the pavement is being watered because the heads are turned.
Sure.
They're variable or houses that have been opened or.
they get hit, they get knocked, kids play with them, there's a million different ways these go south, I know, but it's the act of. Saying, I need to do a neighborhood walkthrough and turn on all the zones, because they've probably been whacked in the past 2 weeks.
and also, would you be willing to let Patty know what the schedule would be when you're out here doing those inspections, so that we can tell the community, Sagewood and Pear Villas, that the Ballinger will be here on this specific date, checking the lines.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because, exactly to the point. I get the alert, someone takes a picture of it, shows it to me on Facebook, and I gotta go. We'll talk to Patty about it, see when Ballinger's gonna be out, I'd rather just go, Ballinger's out this day, this week, they're gonna, just let me know if it's still going on.
If you have any
next week.
issues, please let us know ahead of time, and we'll get those to you before you get here, that kind of thing. Right, that's all.
Yeah, communication is key, so yeah, we'll. And we can't always guarantee, say you were gonna be here on Thursday and let's say we have a main line break. Up in Pasco County and you can't make it, but I'll try to let Patty know and say, hey, can't make it today, be there next week.
Right.
As long as there's communication about that, I think it's great, but I'm with Mac on this. This spreadsheet does a little justice to what we need to look at, and I think we need to, it's a good starting point.
no, it's a great starting point.
Um,
Yeah.
But I'd like to compare it to what the budget shows and show you where we're spending money and the percentage of overtake or where we're gonna get it from.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't have time to compare that, I apologize.
No, no.
And Patty knows I have intent to, right? We talked about it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But if we can reschedule this, I can get it done by the time.
I could do Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, sure,
I could do it Monday or Tuesday. I fly out on.
When I first saw them,
Tuesday, Monday, we have events in here.
paying people.
Yeah. we're gonna do that.
Not necessarily paying people,
could
but
do
I
it.
mean, I could bump them, but it's their first night, it's the chess club.
No, no.
Oh, that's wonderful, oh, that's even worse, I'd rather don't pay.
We'll do that on the screen then.
Member in here, the treasurer.
I've been wanting to do
It's
that.
awesome, right? I know, it's something.
I'll get you his name.
Perfect.
We need
Okay,
to-
Tuesday, 6 o'clock for that one?
We need. yeah, I know.
I could
Well,
do it for the
Proposals.
very nice.
Controller, there again.
Oh, the control. Okay, yeah, let's move on.
If you don't mind.
WA something. I have to look it up. I have some thing.
Tommy had
No,
in regards to your proposals for the new controllers,
Okay,
so. Tony,
I had two. The dog park, I think I know where the controller is going, right? It's going in the box all the way in the back there. You got two irrigation boxes and I got two network boxes back there.
There's a
On the
pedestal
main
back
fence.
the dog park, it's
right by the school.
the entrance kind of is at a like 45, and the controller is
Off to the right.
off to the right, what, 30, 40 feet down the fence line.
Perfect. Okay, great.
The pump is there. EP sensor is there, and then the controller is there.
Okay, yeah. We have perfect Wi-Fi there. That's not a problem. The A2C retrofit kit that you're using for the Wi, you got down here, is the ACC, was it an ACC2 controller that's going in there?
Which one was that?
That's for one of the pedestals again, Gail. The HCP2s, we have the.
You have A2C, I see it listed as an
So
ACC2.
the A2C is replacing the ACC,
Gotcha.
but ACC was the first one.
Okay,
We're gonna support that for probably another 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
Then that controller is like. Gonna go
Absolutely,
to that.
yeah.
my only question is, it was sure it's called an A2C and not an ACC2?
Well, in the catalog, model number, it's an A2C.
Gotcha. I was Googling it to see the controller kept hanging up.
It's the same control. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scaring me.
And I believe you already, there's not one of them already sent over in,
Do we have them?
getting, have one, yes, because there was a proposal for just the combine for,
Oh, that's right. When we walked around, that's correct.
yeah.
The
I
management,
wanna say it was.
Yeah.
I believe already has it.
the second question, and Sean, you might deal this too. The one that we're going to be upgrading at the lake house, where is that located?
Oh, it's actually across the street.
It's across.
It's on the corner over there across the street.
Okay.
See, I had explained it there.
We definitely don't have Wi-Fi connectivity there.
But
We
we
easily
could,
get it.
we could.
Yes, small amount of money to get it. Okay.
We're trying to make sure that we have a way to connect everything before. it's
So do we want to vote on these or these?
I do. I just
These are
want to,
reserve items, right?
are they reserve items? Because they are
No.
upgrades, but the old ones still work.
It's arguable. We budgeted $12,000 to replace them.
And we got 6, 7 and change here. These three, right? I'm working on the right ones.
Gail, so now we also have another project on the way that we're doing research on, which is for replacing the residential timers and the likes of Sageville and Parrot Villas. Those individual timers, are they gonna be using the HydroWise? Is that gonna be the recommended go-to?
That would probably be for residents that would be the record.
Okay. Are those Wi-Fi only?
there's none.
Do they have a LAN?
Those are Wi-Fi.
Is the interface between the A2C and the HydroWise, do they operate under like pretty much the same interface, or are there wild differences?
Say that again.
The two different controllers, so the A2C and the HydroWise, do they kind of use the same management software, or are they wild?
Same,
Very different.
it's the same website, but it's a very different setup.
Okay, okay, so it is very different,
Very, I would call it very user friendly.
sure.
Still has a lot of good information on it.
Mhm.
This is product for the ICP2 and the ACP2 or ACC.
Mhm.
Very in-depth.
They're still in development. I mean, it's out there, we're using it, but they're bringing new stuff on.
Okay. And we'll be able to at least get full admin logons to that,
To which one?
both, I guess. is-
So it's probably, we can have more review on that, however you want to handle it. My understanding, I talked to, our comfort rep this morning, my understanding with the HydroWise system is typically what happens is it's an attack to, it depends, you are you gonna use the homeowner Wi-Fi or are you gonna use your own Wi-Fi?
We're gonna deploy our own.
Okay, so if you're gonna employ your own, then, yeah, you can have whatever.
Another question not related to these controls, but the HydroWise, probably my last two, I'll have more for you, but
That's fine.
in the HydroWise software, can you allow other users? So in other words, let's say HOA is an admin over it, so we could go in and Ballinger can go in and actually adjust zones and timings and all that. Can the homeowner get an account and everybody can see what's going on, and what the schedules are?
If you are overseeing the software, is my understanding that you can give permission in November.
So I have the I have the hydro system in my home. And you can put an admin with a secondary user on it without any difficulty, and there can be multiple hydrolyzers on one admin. And it only uses
like
for each
Rexy.
timer, and so it's pretty easy to simulate that out.
Here's my last one for you. Do you have any of these hanging around in the field that I can borrow?
You're welcome to play with
The
mine.
hydrolyze,
Yeah, I don't want to go over and screw with your irrigation.
I had one, we are
No,
using.
I want to put something, sorry, I want to put something in my garage that I could break, put together, not physically, software wise, and, you know.
I have one hydrolyze controller that we are using, it's up in Pasco County.
Mhm.
I can talk to them.
They're not that expensive. I can
Yeah,
order,
Maybe
I can order one if you want.
Oh, that was my next question, or can we just buy one,
Yeah,
because I
I can go to Sprinkler Warehouse and get one for, under $200. It's not huge, yeah.
okay,
And we'll use it for one of the houses at some point.
Put one in and, yeah.
okay, I'd love to move forward with that. If you know exactly what model we're gonna be using, I'd love to move forward that, because before we even move forward with putting this on residential homes, I want you to understand this inside and out. So
You're welcome to log into my account too, if you want to.
that too, I just, when you get green grass, brown grass, it's not. Anyway, that's all I had on those. Anyone have any other questions on these upgrades? I think we do need to do it. We just need to be knowledgeable that the one here is going to have an attached Wi-Fi cost. Off the top of my head, a bridge and an access point about
And how much is that?
$400, $500 maybe.
$700. The bridge alone is $500, a enclosure. Plus an access point for $60. Yeah, $700. Oh, nothing.
But it does allow us to send the Wi-Fi signal.
I'm just saying.
Thank you,
Have
John.
another Wi-Fi one.
Don't have to do it. Yeah, there's no sense in putting a Wi-Fi controller, I know that Wi-Fi. So.
You need anything else for? Kevin? I mean,
No.
I have one more comment about this. I'm looking over the contracts and I had issue with the same paragraph you pointed out, Mac, is that. So, and I'm gonna use broad numbers here, so please don't correct me on the details.
No
but
worries, no worries.
Currently, Sunrise is charging us $40,000 to maintain all the irrigation, and then we're spending $50,000 on top of that, totaling 90 roughly, to do all of our irrigation, because they're charging us 50 grand for repairs. If we go with Ballinger, it's 90 out the gate, but I want to make sure is we're not going to get another 50 grand on top of that. Can we, so for example, the paragraph in there that says that anything like routine maintenance, adjustment, all this stuff, acts of God, whatever, we have to pay additional for that, is in the contract. Can we allow a $50,000 buffer? We'll take care of $50,000 worth of free repairs, and then anything on top of that, then we'll discuss.
That's a question for Gail,
Because
actually.
I don't want it to exceed that. Let's keep it the same. If we can keep it at 90 grand both, then it's a wash and we just get better service.
Understood, and I would agree with that.
I
if it's-
think I understand what your question is.
Mhm.
I would have to talk to Mark about that a little bit, but I mean. The bottom line is that, and especially in the state of Florida, you can have a controller with a lightning strike and it'll take out
Mhm.
$30,000 on Mercury.
Mhm.
Especially, I mean, you're talking controller, irrigation pump. Decoders in the field,
Mhm.
you can go through 50,000, now, covered by insurance, but still, that would be enough.
We actually
So the 50 grand a year that we spend on repairs, is that for things like she just mentioned, or is it for sprinkler heads and repairing?
That's what I was
Okay.
just gonna ask.
So I'm more, yes, yeah, I'm more concerned about the sprinkler heads and the things that are like a 99-cent piece from Lowe's or Home Depot that you gotta switch out and put a new one in, or. Like, those are the things that I want to spend $200 on
Yeah.
each time.
If I may add to that,
So that's
Mark,
part
I
of,
think-
like I said, unless there's vandalism, you know, 4 or 5 heads on a site is no big deal, that's part of it.
So just to make it clear, they go out in the field, they find that there are 6 heads clogged. Okay, they're gonna change those heads out, and it's not gonna cost us for the heads.
That's part of the contract.
That's what I'd like to see.
But if a landscaper's lawnmower runs over 7 of them. That.
She's gonna charge us, and we're gonna try to get it back from the landscape.
Right, that's Tuesday's discussion. That's what we'll
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, Mark.
Done.
We can go into more depth on that on Tuesday.
to add
Yeah.
to that Tuesday is the $40,000 that we're spending more with on Sunrise for irrigation repairs. Do we have a breakdown on what that is? The controller strikes, or is it all just broken
Actually, the majority of it has been heads and or valves and somewhat, in some cases, the encoders, decoders from the other 72 wire.
Okay. Okay, conversation was Tuesday, but no, it was, yeah, instead of trying to say, hey, take out $50,000 worth of repairs, take on all head repairs outside of that. Something on this. Oh, yeah, Gail, I don't think we need you. Thank you. though.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
very
it.
much, Gail.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
What time are you guys meeting?
6 o'clock.
Okay. You got a number, right?
I think I do. I'll make sure on Monday.
I have another meeting this hour. If there's something that comes up and you want to answer, we're just calling.
Thanks, Gail. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Thanks for.
Okay, so do we want to vote on these controller upgrades for these two areas? Dog park areas?
Well, I think we have no choice, right? You need one, don't you?
We have a choice. The choice is not to do it all, but at the end of the day, it's a dumb system. The same systems, the same dumb systems that are advocating replacing across the neighborhood. So these are the two dumb systems in our control. So, we're pushing to upgrade paired villas, dumb systems to smart fish systems, and Sage would you do the same, and then we're not going to do it on our own properties. In that term, I think, yeah, we have to, and we should. It's going to save us water.
Well, that's the point, right?
And plans, that's the bigger
And
plan, yeah.
and plans.
We know it's a money saver. There's no doubt.
So,
And it's better to learn.
And it's budgeted.
right, it's.
That's
That's
why-
Budget.
It's $3,000 a pop, right?
So $3 grand on the dog park. Yeah, and then $3,000 on a dog park, and budget, 3,800 on the lake house, because we need to put some Wi-Fi equipment in.
Yeah, so it was like 7,000 and change on the proposals here that I read, correct?
Correct.
So,
So you just got a little bit more because you have technology issues on here. So we say we make a motion to not to exceed $8,000 to get them fixed. That seem like that
That
reasonable.
would seem fantastic.
I would like to make a motion that we plan to spend $8,000, approve the expenditure.
no more than,
Yeah, not to exceed $8,000 and then we'll come back. Right?
Second.
And we can even put a timeline on that if you say, well, we want to do it in May or whatever, but we're just projecting out when we're going to do it. If we can manage that, I'm open to that.
This comes out of the master budget.
It does.
Upgrade.
Yep. Upgrade budget, $20,000. We have a lot of it.
So I would make my motion that we, to not to exceed $8,000. To proceed with these three items.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
On
carries.
that, thanks.
Thanks, man. Sandpiper Crest decoder reprogramming. I don't think this is an optional one, is it?
No, not really.
I'm really.
We need to have it.
Well, isn't that included in
is
that,
it?
right?
I thought this was-
We just voted on that.
I thought that's what.
Yeah,
all these
I got the,
uses-
yeah, there's three.
It's
So,
part of the approach.
I'm sorry, I really missed that, but
yeah, so we've got there's 29, 27,
you're right, 8,000.
right? So that's why,
2,000 covers all three.
It's all three places, yeah.
cool. See, I did my math.
One of
I
those.
thought it sounded high because in my head I had 7,000, but okay.
7,000 and change, but you said you needed some technology pieces, right? If we come in under, then it's $500.
Yeah, so the sandpiper one will come out of sandpiper's
Yeah, so it's
budget.
not affecting our master budget.
The-
Right, but we're still approving it.
Yeah.
Proving is
One of
one.
the. clarify
Yeah.
that is-
Because you had asked him if it was coming out of the master and
Actually, there's
Mark, oh,
market.
well, I get the two.
Yeah, it's
Very
really,
good.
if you look like,
Yeah, we're still up. I'm bald, he's got hair, and I have in a minute.
Twins, man.
easily confuse you, I'm sorry about that.
Let's go, move on.
All right,
HVAC maintenance plan. I know we have talked about this in the past, but for the life of me, I don't remember, and I did not feel like digging to find out.
So
Tabled it.
we tabled it, we stopped the maintenance plan that we were running previously when he left us and did his last service. He said, hey, by the way, your compressor's crashing and you might want to take care of that. And we left that on the table for future discussion. It was put in the budget as soon as we'd have repairs for it.
So is this the repair for the compressor at 1,700
And
and change?
regular maintenance for it at this point too, like you
Like
think.
twice a year, every
Yeah.
6 months? Yeah, that seemed like a no-brainer. to
This
me.
is both, though, right? This is repair plus maintenance.
It's maintenance.
That's what I thought.
This says maintenance plan and
It's a
they,
maintenance plan for how much per visit? Is it? Can't remember.
I thought it was twice a year. 6
twice,
months.
it says twice a year. I don't have.
So the compressor is over and above.
Annually 1746, 1800.
$1,800.
So currently, just so you know, we don't have a maintenance budget for contracted services. We could put it in general repairs, which is not a problem, because I don't think it was separated out anyway. But we did have some maintenance for the $8,000 will be a lot of the compressor repair.
So we have it there. So, but this proposal is not for that. This is just a maintenance.
Sure.
Seems like, I would make a motion that, unless there's questions on the pool, why don't we approve the HVAC and the pool maintenance? That both seem reasonable. Is there any discussion?
You are just pushing them off.
John,
Okay, I like it.
That's what I mean, because I mean, 2280 or whatever it is for the pool maintenance 3 times a week. I don't even have that in my house.
Yeah,
I do want to talk about it for a second, though. We do want to this is replacing John.
Yeah, he made a motion.
he made a motion.
All right, I would retract my motion if you need more discussion.
Keep your emotions down.
I got questions. on the whole thing.
Trying to keep my motion.
Take your motion for the bottom, let's say that.
Keep your emotions to yourself.
I try.
On the pool maintenance, this is replacing Sean, I believe, right?
Right.
So it's a new pool maintenance.
It's a new pool
Yes.
maintenance guy.
And why are
Go.
we replacing the current one?
We're bidding it out and the
I'm
current
sorry, I
one
can't
does
hear you.
not, he doesn't take care of the pool. The filters, they're all ratty and disgusting and he's been, Sean is the only one that's been there entirely since the pool was built. So his guys come in 3 days a week and they're not keeping the pool the way it should.
So his performance is not up to standard, is what you're saying.
No, it's just, I think it's just a company, because didn't you have the same issue over at Encore? With
Yeah,
Central?
Do anybody know this? I don't know this company, is it?
Well, what do we pay Sean?
That's on the 1800 a month.
1440, I think.
So this is a little bit more of a hopefully they're gonna have service. Yeah, I've spoke to him a few times. He like talking a little. Cool, I'll get you an email. He doesn't know my name or my email. I'm not always gonna get an email.
Who are we talking about?
Sean.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the new guy.
Sorry,
but
new
yeah,
guy I don't know.
Do it, and we only have one proposal?
I wasn't able to get that. They just don't show up.
All they need to know about the old pool maintenance is that, a couple months ago, the pool failed state inspection and we had to close it. That should never happen, so.
I agree,
I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so.
Agreed. The process of why that happened. We didn't have the money to replace anything that was required. In addition to the locks weren't up on the vans, I mean, that didn't happen by, force of absent nature.
Well, the locks will
We
be
knew
a big factor.
it was headed that.
So what isn't completely his responsibility that it failed?
No,
No,
not at all. Actually, I think for the reasons of that, it did fail, absolutely not. Kind of. But we're okay now, we're in good standing, and I agree, it should never happen again. Should we get, you said Patty, people aren't coming out to quote to bid this, right? This was the problem, we had, it's
Yeah,
fine.
that was the problem. This one I was lucky enough, he actually did. To finding a big company that shows up to bid it.
yeah, it's a flaky
So
bunch.
it's exactly 13.
It is, I fired my pool guy when I had no one else.
Oh, you're not.
And he would just walk in, look at the pool, turn around and walk away, and my neighbor kept wanting to do it.
I get that, this is virtual pool, it's a completely different ball.
So the amount we're paying at the moment is 1,700 per month.
So it's over $500 more per month.
It is.
And and did we budget?
Is it 2,200 a month or
Budget, but it's
$2,200 a year?
Sign up.
A month, but it includes coverage. That's where the bulk of their costs.
Well, I think we have, as far as I'm concerned, continuing to do what we're doing is probably the best course of action. And we have no alternatives at this point. We could continue and look further, but if we're not getting responses. Doesn't surprise me.
So it impacts what, $3,500 from contingency to do this?
No, you included those. So you included the lap pool.
Doesn't Pinch Penny have a pool service too, though?
Not for commercial.
Not for commercial.
Yeah, that's just.
That's
It's just
residential.
residential only.
And Leslie's in the same way,
I don't know about Leslie's. I'm just thinking this.
because Leslie's is the copycat of, Pinch Penny, they're around, not a lot of them now, but.
Yeah, they used to be.
It's on probably through 5 pools, people in my house.
Because there should also be one.
Maybe 4, you know. The guy we have now is great, but I am sure he's not gonna do commercial.
But do the commercial, like you're saying, you have to replace the compressor?
Once more.
Do the commercial air conditioners not have the same warranty as you get at your residential? So like if you buy a brand new system for your house, normally you get a 7 to 10 year on a compressor. So if this is less
Typically,
than,
commercial units have a lesser warranty from
Okay.
what the gentleman told me, and I didn't check it, but he told me it had a 5-year warranty and we were outside of it. So.
gotcha.
Yeah, his pool was built in 2015.
No,
He-
I'm talking about AC. I'm talking about AC,
Oh,
you can
AC.
actually, I have to ask my
Yeah.
AC buddy about that, because he's got his own business, it's him and his son. I have to ask him about it, because there's a way you can look it up, because he says sometimes they'll play that. Oh, yeah, there's no warranty.
Right.
They go to
Take a
people's
serial number,
houses
put
and
it in the
replace people's
manufacturer.
units and go, oh, there's no warranty. Well, it's 4 years old. And they're charging them a ton of money, then telling them they calculated their house wrong. Your house is not calculated wrong. It might have been if you built it in the 70s, but today it's not calculated wrong.
So that we should hit Marlins in? Is that what we talking?
No, he's.
Unfortunately, we're talking about both at the same.
No, I was just going back on the warranty, because I'm like a warranty hog.
So we can-
Anything I buy has a
That's
warranty.
right. I mean,
hold you
we
to
can
it
take a
today.
look at it and see if we can get the serial number and run it. There is a website to do that, to see if it's still in the warranty. That's good thought.
Yeah,
Good thought.
because really all they're gonna charge you then is just
Labor,
the labor, yeah,
incidental parts for solder and so forth. Right?
because I mean, they get it for free. They get their part for free, you know, but
Let's,
Okay,
Save
so,
money.
are we back to voting on the HVAC? or-
do we want both pool and HVAC?
Is there
Yes, we did. Let's make them 2 separate motions.
Okay,
Hey, do we want HVAC? Yes.
So
Motion.
you rescinded your.
I would send it over, so motion to approve the HVAC.
Hold on.
Contract.
So do we want to check first to see if it's under warranty before we agree to pay?
Well, this is not, this is.
This is just the
This
maintenance.
is the maintenance contract, which she come out, we need it. which we have.
It's here now. We're gonna-
Then the compressor is a separate line item, it's already been budgeted for.
Just for reference, the reason that we terminated the maintenance contract last year is because we had an individual that was working for us that said he could do it without us.
He was gonna maintain it twice a year, clean the fence, he's got the tool for it. Yada, yada, so.
So that's gone, so hopefully the savings in that will offset this, how about that?
Back to this motion to approve the HVAC contract.
Second. All those in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Is there any other further discussion on the pool, or should we try a new service?
I don't know, my gut tells me, let's see if we can find another one. I know it's hard, Patty, but
I'll keep trying.
Sean is doing it now, we're paying him.
Right.
Let's burn another month.
hey, let me see who they're using at the ice center. We got a cool guy.
Okay,
They do all the spas and everything for the lightning. I'll find out who that guy is.
yeah,
There
definitely.
you go.
I do have,
Someone
just
done
thought
some
about that.
Serious commercial work would be great, yeah,
Yeah, we have spas and everything in there, saunas, he knows all that kind of stuff.
yeah, that'd be
I'll
great.
get his number.
I do have one thing that I keep forgetting. And this is a good task for James, won't cost, or Jeremy,
Jeremy,
won't cost, but you know, $50-$60 over. We need, get like 2-inch box blinds in the window of the pool. We can peer in there and see everything. You got those 2 windows.
Oh, in the
Yeah,
office room?
Yeah,
Okay.
get blinds on both. If the heat blares in there and that AC in the ceiling is running,
Right.
stop it.
Right.
Just simply putting up some blinds and there's gonna cut the temp down.
Makes sense.
Dramatically. Yeah, that kind of heat that you can just kind of peer in there and see all that.
Exactly.
So I think the True Green and the landscaping is all gonna be on Tuesday.
Table,
correct?
great, yeah.
able to, yeah,
So now we're at fitness, if I see us correctly.
Bandit Fitness.
You go,
Yes.
boy, pushing along.
I love
I
it.
know.
Go for it.
Let me explain what I know. Mark and I been kind of beating each other up over this, and through our workings, we landed on Bandit. So and it's because of their product line. They have the sports art product line, it's fantastic, it does what we needed to do. Mark sold on it from a fitness level, I'm sold on it from an IT technical. Then we got to the thinking of, why don't we have Peloton stuff in there? Because that was something another company, FitRev, was kind of offering. Even though we didn't like the FitRev equipment, we liked that portion of the idea. So we kind of did a hybrid mix of the two. Bandit's looking for $106,000 for the fitness equipment. If anyone has questions on the equipment.
I have a question on why are we buying this and not leasing it?
And I can probably answer that for you.
Because this man tells me to do it.
We had already budgeted for our reserve to replace the equipment at $77,000 and change for this year and next year. When we did-
$77,000 for the 2 years, correct?
Oh.
Total.
Total.
Okay, I'm 77 is,
I understand the number different. Let me finish if you would. So the purpose that we talked about this is that doing the lease option ended up costing us in 5 years without owning the equipment, about $20,000 more than the expense of the equipment that we're looking at.
true, but at the end of the lease, you get to give it back and get new equipment.
Okay.
At the end of 5 years, I have old equipment.
Right, but if you're funding the reserve, which we are doing, and we're not removing that component as of yet, but we could if we do a lease, that it's almost funded now. So what I'm saying is that the $33,000, $38,000 of it is funded already. The other will be funded by the end of the year. So the goal was to try to think about spending that money and then taking the rest from some of the other budgets that we are kind of maneuvering around at this point, partially from contingency. So we've thrown a bunch of things in the contingency tonight, so this makes a different light on the story, but realistically, that was the goal.
I mean, so I went over and counted 13. 2 pieces of equipment over there, right? I got the right number. So do we have to do all 13? Are they all really bad? I mean, they are bad, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I don't use them, so it's totally on these guys.
no, that's why I'm asking the question.
The thing is, you have some that are just bad and failing and not working, and the others, it's, you know, you could have a beautiful 2006 Cadillac, it's a 2006 Cadillac.
With 20,000 miles on it, so it's all there it is. I mean, I'm just saying, so.
Funny you said it's my mother's 2006 Cadillac with 23,000. It is in immaculate condition.
That has more retained value than, so I guess also, it's like when you buy cars, if you run a fleet, you don't buy all your trucks or all your vehicles on the same year, you try to stagger it out, so you don't get hit with, oh my gosh, we have 3 trucks go down in the same year. Is it something that we want to do 30%, 30%, or,
I agree with you. If it was a fleet of oily contractors, this gen, knock it out of the park all at once, because it's all impression, right? You're coming in there to work out, you want to work out there. You really don't want to have that. And we do the park.
I was gonna say, there's additional
There's more
expenses.
Just remember though, that there was $36,000 allocated for a lease that would go into this in addition to taking it from the reserve to purchase the equipment. So that's the offset.
I'm
seeing here.
something that I guess just to discuss.
Even if you lease for, it's gonna cost us $126,000 to lease it. At the end of the lease, you don't just turn in your own equipment and get brand new equipment, and then they're like, okay, you're all paid up, you're good to go. Now you have to keep paying your lease. At the end of a car lease, you turn in your car and you get another car, right? Unless I'm misunderstanding. the
No,
lease.
you get a one-time buyout. You
But
don't.
you should just keep making payments.
After the
No.
5 years.
So with the useful life, the estimated useful life of the equipment according to the reserve study is 10
Well,
years.
that's it. I decided to renew this, renew brand new.
Right, brand new, equipment, yeah.
So just hear me
So
out.
you still end up owning it at
The
the end.
useful life is 10 years. Okay, let's assume we get 10 years out of it and we buy it outright as opposed to leasing it for 10 years at $240,000. Anyone seeing what I'm saying here?
No.
If it lasts for 10 years, I don't know.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
sure that a 10-year lease would be our choice, so we may go with a 5-year lease.
No, but if we had to renew the lease at the end to get another set of equipment, we'd still be leasing equipment for 10 years, right? It doesn't, we have 2 5-year leases.
But
and if-
So.
if it's leased, is it maintained? Do they maintain it? Is there a service company?
There's a maintenance.
This is maintenance included, yeah.
So if I recall correctly, part of the reason why we were considering leasing is because we didn't have it in the budget to begin with. And this came in late. And by stretching, and I heard you say something about taking a little bit from this other budget over here, put it in, which I think is what got us in.
Yeah, the lease
in first
budget.
place.
Yeah,
That maybe we ought to stick to what our plan was, and at the end of the year, if we want to get out of it, we'd like to lease and pay it off.
Well, I
And-
guess my
and-
question is it coming from reserves or is this coming from,
Not
because-
coming from anything other than a lease.
well, if you're
No,
leasing, but if you're buying, is this a
$77,800
reserve item?
will come from reserves. 36,000 will come from budget. That's what we had to spend.
And what did we budget for, lease if we were gonna do a lease?
$36,000
So you take 77,000 out of
reserve.
reserves, then you have the other 36,000, and then you would just start replacing the reserves on a 5 to 10 year.
Well, it'll still be the same schedule. The only thing that would change is it's slated to replace 50% of it this year. So it's already in the reserves to use as a component.
But the other money is not in the reserves.
Right, and it's slated to be replaced next
So
year.
we only, I'm doing rough math, we only have about 70 or 80% of it. Kathy and I are working on the same numbers, right?
exactly.
And John's point is, where do you find the other 20%? And that would be
And
my
then
contingency,
this
which we're already
the
doing.
expense
And I'm not against it, I agree with it, it's just how you do it. How do you-
Lori,
Then what comes from contingency? You're exactly right.
But we got a large landscape. So I guess I'm gonna make a motion to
Only spend the 77.
hold,
So this year-
hold this in abeyance until we figure out our landscape.
That's why I'll spend it for next year.
Because the landscaping costs,
Make sense?
irrigation, everything has potential to eat up a lot of the contingency that we have. If we think we got the landscaping done right, which is Mark's point, right, which is, hey, if we can get the landscapers to say, we'll accept and absorb X%. We get them to absorb a certain percent, our $40,000, $50,000 of spending on repairs. Would be embedded in our overarching costs, then we would not have the contingency
I
paid.
entirely agree with you on that.
Is that, so I think part of it's because the landscaping and the irrigation is such a big ticket item. I think I would feel more comfortable if we even had this at the end of the special meeting. Based on what we come out of there, then we could say, yes, we think we would go
I think
through.
that's a wise decision.
And I support it.
and I think that's right.
Okay.
And I totally agree with replacing the equipment. I just think that we have to look at the overall cost of the equipment, the floor, because already we're over budget right now.
It's 120,000.
So the other thing, do we know if we were gonna lease it, where we would get the money?
It's in our budget.
No,
Where would we get the money? from?
where we would lease it from?
Oh, we had.
Specializes in fitness equipment to operate.
Should we get a copy of that lease?
She. Did I, you know what, I don't, did I do it?
You didn't put it in with tonight's.
There's a lease option that they gave us. The problem is it's potential numbers until we actually fill out the application to the lease company and finalize them. So.
It's a working number.
It's a working number. I don't have it here fully.
So are we,
Just knowing what our annual cost we could set aside for, because they, 100,000 versus,
the monthly.
yeah, the monthly amount is quite a difference there. And like I say, if we have a lease that's flexible enough that after 2 years, when everything settles out, we're good to go. We just buy out the lease and go from there, you know, but if we don't, we still. Have the lease, yeah.
So we'll take
Is
it.
that?
Does the buyer allow us to keep the equipment?
Yeah, it's about, yeah, I gotta look at it again. I know, I gotta look at it again, I'm pretty sure it's a dollar buy.
Okay.
Right, which may be the way to go, right? You just bridge it for a couple of years you get new equipment, you're bridging it with the lease. With knowing what the buyout would be and potentially maybe even slightly more than we were planning, but at that point, we're in better shape to do it. Am I reading you correctly? All right.
I don't like paying interest if I don't have to.
I agree.
So if I don't have to pay $20,000 in interest, I'd prefer not to.
Oh, yeah.
So
If
the
you
reason
want, you have
why
to
we
cash the paper.
considered that was because we didn't have the money.
Right. So after the landscaping meeting, we should have a better, more clear picture on how much money we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think so.
It's about what's left in the contingency anyway. The other money is just where the money is. It's just in those budgets.
Right, it's the contingency that's the variable here.
Absolutely.
That would make me very worried, burning the contingency at this point before the hurricane comes.
before hurricane
And
season.
we've already spent 75% of our tree repair.
It's.
Oh, no, tree trimming is different than the tree repair. We have separate budget for that, by the way.
I'm gonna call tomorrow and try to see if I can get more information on the lease and actual cost.
Yeah.
I had some of it before, it's probably a little old now, but I'll freshen up on it.
Sounds good. And I agree, it's an amenity that should be first class, you know, if you're just gonna run a first class.
It's a hot button for many people, for sure. So,
Yeah, no.
No.
not for me,
Okay.
as you can tell.
But wasn't the leasing part, while we were also leasing, so they also take care of the equipment
Both
versus
are the
that's
same.
right now, you buy it. Who's gonna take
Yeah,
care?
they
Who
have a-
maintains
they have a
it? You
service.
you go out and buy it right now,
There's a service agreement.
So, there's a quote of that.
yeah, so like, so if we didn't lease and we just bought it straight up and we had them deliver it.
Oh,
There's still a lease in.
There's maintenance, is what you're saying. We'd lose the maintenance if we bought it straight out from them at that point.
Right,
No, because you get the equipment and the maintenance from the same company.
okay.
And then the lease comes from a totally different company.
It's a plan.
I was thinking the way to get the maintenance would be is you're leasing it and they would come maintain it whenever something broke. They walk out there, oh yeah, we'll replace the wheel, we'll replace the pulley, we'll replace this. Versus if you buy it, you only get so much of a warranty on it and then it's yours.
Right, but if we're purchasing it even through the lease, like the lease is just paying the distribution company for like a better thing, the person we're buying it from, and they're still getting their lease out of it. I don't think it should make a difference. Really.
But again, I think we can go into more detail on this on Tuesday after we decide on landscaping.
Okay,
Yeah, that works for me. I just want
Another
to
spreadsheet.
make note to things that put here that are in addition to that. So the flooring is one thing that's in addition. There'll be some paint involved. I know there's been a request for mirrors to be put up, so when they're working on the machine, they can see who's coming in behind them. That's a cheap, easy thing we could have maintenance do. Bikes is the only thing additional because we do not get the Peloton stuff through Bandit. We get the Peloton stuff through Peloton. So
Yeah.
that's an
Is
additional.
that the $450 some odd dollar?
That's a $3,000 for the two bikes.
Oh.
Own it outright, 3,200 for the road, own it outright.
and
They
there's
will-
a service fee as well.
Bandit will maintain them without additional cost.
Oh, those are Peloton. That's what the
Yes,
3,006,
the thing-
6,200.
yes, correct. The thing that I'm having struggles with is trying to figure out the subscription cost because there are actually three different ways to do this.
With Peloton.
What do they do? What does it give you? $450?
So
That's just like, you know, here's your scenery.
yeah, if you have a Peloton membership, it's an entire. Right. So it's very much worth having. Matter of fact, if you don't have one, you're not already using machine. That's just kind of the way it goes. That's how integrated it is. But that being said, I can't quite figure it out because you can get a Peloton subscription for $44 a month. Buy a Peloton at your house, that's what it costs, right? They have a commercial subscription for environments like this, where it could 1,200 residents could come in there and create their own account and use the machine. I can't nail down what that costs. I believe it's somewhere around $468 per year per machine. But I haven't confirmed that yet.
So that would be tied to every single machine there or only those?
Just the two
three?
Peloton.
The two Peloton.
Okay.
There's three, two bikes.
Two bikes in a rowing machine, right? Yeah.
Oh, too bad.
Two bikes in
Just
a row.
the-
So I'm still kind of working on that. Hey, I've been trying to, Peloton has a commercial site we keep hitting and we cannot, no one's responding back to us. And then we did find out that FitRev was we know FitRev, because we have them now, and they were a competitor on this bid. It keeps going, oh, you know, we're the rep for Peloton commercial, so you have to go through us. Peloton bought Precor. It keeps unraveling. So I'm gonna have that final price at some point, but I
But
appreciate
that's what you're estimating, 468 a month, so that's only for
A year.
three,
a year.
468 per machine,
Figure $1,500 a year. total.
only for those three machines, not all the other machines.
All the other machines. are
Okay.
Again, clarification of that, 468 a year
per
per
machine.
machine,
I think,
But there's only three machines that are gonna need it.
correct.
right, but
Right.
that's still.
No, I was going at $5,616 a month, because I thought it was all the machines needed.
No, just the
three.
Pelotons. The other ones, everything's already in.
Okay, so it's 6,200 plus the $1,500, but that's an ongoing cost.
That's what I have.
Thank you.
And if you have any other questions on why we chose what machine for where.
It's more.
No. I defer to the expert.
I mean, two of us, that's time to say at the beginning, you know, the machines we picked have better motors. I think the first company had 4 horsepower motors, these has 6 horsepower motors, the decks are bigger. They allow you to stream from your phone to the machine. So if you want to watch Netflix or whatever, if you have your own fitness tracking app, you can put it on the screen and then still technology. Tommy wasn't really geeking out on the technology of the machines.
Because Apple's got a really cool fitness program you can run from the phone now too. I don't know if you know, promote that. There's-
And the
So
bigger pads fit even in there, you know, space buckets.
We have,
technology,
I
great,
figured-
wonderful, I break things like that. I'm more interested in, what about the machine itself? I mean, is it?
They're high-end machines, they're. You know, because that was my concern, was I haven't seen these machines before, I don't see these in gyms, why not? It's because they're too high-end for gyms, gyms want to get the best machine they can while maintaining a profit margin, so you see Precourse a lot, right? You see Cybex a lot, because these are commercial machines that can be installed, they're gonna maintain their usability, but they're also affordable for a large gym to use, whereas these ones you see kind of out in California a lot. It's a California company, they're very Gucci, and but they're really good machines.
Oh, Bushy.
Oh,
Okay.
they're good machines, so. Yeah.
Do we have a fallback? If somebody says, why are we spending 100,000 for the top of the line stuff, we have an alternative, show.
It's gonna cost 100,000 either way.
the answer to that is, and you can put it all on me. I don't do cheap work, and I won't put my name on a shitty product.
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
No, you're looking for a lower cost.
I'm not looking for, if you go to a regular gym, that's what people expect to see, okay? So if we give them an upgrade project and then we tell them what it's gonna cost you an extra $30 a month or whatever, it's homeowners fee, and a lot of people aren't using this equipment, you know, then the question is, what's the alternative?
The first problem with that is, one assumption is already incorrect, so a lot of people aren't using this. A lot of people are using it. It's
Not,
not,
not 1,800 people, use it, or 1,300 or how many we got.
no, but you have a lot. Yeah, don't underestimate, it's probably who's second to full, it's probably the most used now. Usually. If not first to full, it's. But you're asking like, what's the alternative?
I'm talking about saleability, you know, we've got a homeowners association out there that I was already questioning how we manage the funds,
Sure.
you know, and,
Well, that's different. The question is, how are we gonna pay for it? And that's why we're taking it. Because we're not exactly sure. But if you're asking, what's the alternative to this? The alternative is, we know exactly what it costs. Get it in budget for funding for future year. What you don't wanna do is you wanna start putting in cheaper stuff. It's gonna overall change.
The fail safe is that $77,000 will be available in 2024 to spend towards equipment, no matter what we do, what we budget, we offset that.
And John, there'd be, so it could be another single Mark and I were looking at this. I think the swing on all this was like 20,000.
Yeah,
That's right.
easily.
So it wasn't even going with the worst option was like a $20,000 swing to this. So it wasn't, it's not like a saving half or 50% of the project. It was.
I think we'd be doing that anyway.
No, but I just say, it's because Mark and I were kind of looking at it. And at first, when we first started, we was looking at one of the other companies and leaning toward them, and I was kind of leaning toward these guys, and then we just kind of started digging into it. Why is one more than the other? Started making sense once we started looking at the product.
I think the issue there also becomes, it sounds like it's a matter of reliability. If it's a better motor, a safer deck, there, you know, it's a better product. That will last longer. It's, you know, there's nothing worse than going into a gym and the machines are down because they're broken, you know. So I think that's one of the other,
And these machines, they had higher weight limits on the treads, hence the larger.
that's what I'm saying. It's a safety issue in addition to.
And honestly,
You don't have to sell me. I think this is a great deal. I'm just thinking about the average Joe out there.
Yeah, no, but I think that's what it is. You know, the upgrade is to increase safety because the decks can handle greater weight and they're wider. And also their motors are 20% or 40% larger, therefore they are more reliable, but able to handle it. So I think
Of course,
that's,
I need to wait, I need to wait, so.
You and
And in case, for those of you that maybe didn't know or didn't dig deep into it, we're actually adding a full, very large, full fitness gym in there, a weight machine. That has been a request from some of the residents. We have no weight machine in our current, so,
We have some free weights. but
so we have free weights, but we don't have any weight go.
so like, it's sort of like the old university.
Right.
Right?
It's
Something
actually
in
quite
mind.
large. It's going in the corner, we're dropping down one of the rollers. We have one too many rollers that less used, need to move forward, so.
Okay, so we can
Good.
continue this discussion on Tuesday.
Fine.
So to push along here, the next is the landscaping contract, which we tabled, and then our Lake House rental agreement, right?
Lake House rental agreement, anyone have any questions on that?
I do, sorry, I apologize. That's why I was trying to move forward, because it's some.
They're good, I did it, if they're bad, Jennifer did it.
No, I think all in all, it's good, right? There's a couple of things though that I like, where we get to Lake House only. Excuse me, Lake House and fire pit only. If the rent the fire pit area, it's $60. And the lake house, it's $150. Shouldn't the lake house and fire pit area be a higher fee?
I.
Like
agree with that.
$180 or something like that, because otherwise people will always just say, well, I'll rent the boat, even if I don't want to use them. So,
We could, but going back to why we did what we did originally, the fire pit is fully refundable. The only reason we have money attached to it is so I get the key back.
Which does disappear occasionally.
It's a,
We really didn't want to charge to just come out here on a Friday night and use the fire pit, but we can't keep it open because the kids will burn everything.
Right,
We
no,
wanted to
okay.
make sure we
all
got
right,
the key.
that sounds fine. So,
That's why we didn't charge extra for. both.
yeah, no, again, these are just questions to show that I did my homework.
But I'm
Um,
going to agree with you, Mac. I think that if somebody's going to do both, that there should be an additional charge.
And here's why, because it does.
There is
So
a-
if you're gonna look at that, you say, well, I'll do the lake house and the fire pit, even if I don't necessarily want to use it, and therefore. If somebody else could say, I'm gonna do the fire pit that Friday night, and there's an event in here, that's fine, you have a fire pit event and this event, right? So.
I could go any way with this, but I'll just give you my personal opinion. Fire pit doesn't really get enough use. I
Well,
like
that's
to
your personal
promote
opinion.
that
I
thing
never
get
heard that
used, rather than deter it from it costing money. But lake house rentals for $150 is insane. That should be $200. You want to raise something, just raise the lake house, leave the fire pit alone. That's my personal.
Yeah, well, and that's sort of,
Okay, is there is this gas, so who pays the gas bill?
It's terribly nothing.
It is terribly enough.
We spend like $6 on gas, every 2 months or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's nothing.
I just,
And again, you gotta think about it like this.
I do.
It's beautiful, it works, no one uses it, I want people to.
Right, no,
How do
I'm with
so I'm thinking, how do I encourage people to come out and use this?
There's more
Let's
chairs.
go.
Well, I was gonna say we need more
Yeah,
chairs,
we need more chairs,
Right.
there's no doubt it needs a new cover, it needs more chairs.
but that's.
The lighting
another-
needs to
that's-
be
it's
fixed.
there's question mark after that, you know, all these have question marks. It's just a question.
Good,
So deposit, so here's the thing, so, and this has to do with the cleaning, I think we talked about this. Is there a way of having, you know, the deposit, you don't get the deposit back, you know, you, maybe instead of $150 for the rental, it's $200, but we have an arrangement with somebody in the neighborhood who has a cleaning service to say, you pay $200 because $50 of that goes to $150 to rent it, $50 to clean it. Then no one has to come in and say, whatever the wording we have in here is clean to the right standard, you know, well,
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of different standards to clean, you know. My standards of cleaning and my wife's standard of cleaning are not the same, it's just that simple.
Yeah, we talked about that, you and I.
I would be straight with my wife.
I'm in agreement with that, if we could do that. There's two ways to do, two questions, I guess, that maybe need a little more looking into. Do we have someone in the neighborhood that wants to clean after all these events for $50?
No, here's my statement. When the cleaning is included. they're
It's gonna be a big mess.
They're gonna leave us in shambles. They're just gonna live in the shambles.
Well, then maybe it's $50 if it's wiped down and cleaned up, where you have all these things, garbage is put out, da, 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 da. If not, the cleaning fee is $150. And so therefore, they're going to, then it comes in to really just do the windows and, you know, do the light cleaning.
Okay.
So
Again,
again,
I do think that's great. It's a huge deterrent. Keep the place clean. At $150, people are gonna think twice about it.
oh, so this is, you don't get the thing back, but who makes that decision? Then you get into the argument. So
And what if you have
Well,
two
well,
on
I mean-
the same day?
Patty does, and, you know,
Right.
Now,
yeah.
Now, if you have two events
Good.
on the same day, like you have one in the morning, then you have one at night, who's coming in between?
I know, this is going long.
Well,
we've had this.
right.
We've had this discussion
yeah, no,
before.
maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe this is, so how do we guarantee somebody, you know, it doesn't even have to be in the neighborhood, it could be somebody in the next neighborhood, somebody who becomes you're not the keeper of the key, there is a event coordinator that is responsible for handling this. You know, you control, you're the keeper of the room, the execution is now to somebody else, and yeah.
If we could find a way, how many rentals on average are we doing? Couple?
At least a
Yeah.
couple, yeah.
It's an easy sell. I don't know how we pay them, but it's an easy sell. Hey, bump it to $100 a week very easily. We're gonna get someone that's gonna take full control.
Well, it's an easy sell, it's just, you change it.
Yeah,
If you get a couple of weeks, and you're spending a third of the revenue towards cleaning, that's, you definitely raise the rent to cover that, but.
That's my point,
right,
you know, so you make it 200. And, you know, so $75 goes to the maintenance, we're reducing our rent come by 25%, but we're increasing. You know, reducing the work, the liability to the board and trying to get you out of business of, I want my key back, it's not your key, it's the event coordinator's key. Right?
that's a great point too. So what your suggestion here is we drop the $50 deposit altogether. We raise the fee to $200 and we find someone that wants to make $50.
I don't mind having a deposit because if someone bashes out a couple of windows.
I'm sorry,
I think you
not the
just,
deposit, the
cleaning.
cleaning, made the $50 cleaning.
But it still says you are expected to keep this clean. You don't say that other $50 is cleaning. The other $50 is for the event manager to make sure
That
that
everything
there's
gets
no
put back
problem and
right.
it's prepared and the key gets passed from one person to the other.
Okay.
And then, you know, that person is working for this team right here, not you, right? And then, you know, it's when
So-
you're involved is when someone,
Although we're
Blow
talking
up
about
the
taking
place.
$50 and spending for somebody to come inspect after each of them. That's what
Yes.
we're doing.
and touch up if something needs
Right,
to
of
be
course.
done.
It has to be done.
right.
You know, and then the rule of thumb, it could be even stated in this, is, you know, you always leave a place better than you found it. That's just the rule of thumb, you know, that's just a rule of thumb, right?
There's some people in the world that think that way, and there's many who don't.
Yeah.
It's the freeloader syndrome. I think Jason's volunteering to be the.
He is, he keeps, every time he thinks about cleaning, he starts smiling.
He's doing this.
Yeah.
We're not any questions for, thank you.
Yeah.
Others.
What's the turnaround between one event ending and the next one starting?
I try to leave an hour.
Yeah.
I try to leave an hour.
So theoretically, what if we had, because you could say, schedule, a cleaning crew come in. They can go ahead, let's say you contracted them for 50, can go ahead, take that up to 200. In the order, if it goes and says anything above 50, you'll present, a copy of the invoice to them and bill whoever.
I think the problem we're facing here is at $50 an hour, or $50 per event. We're not gonna be able to, we're not gonna have a service company,
Just in theory,
you know?
whatever.
Whatever the number is.
Whatever,
Yeah.
let's say it was. Our last cleaning crew was what, $75, to come in?
100, I think, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So they come in, they, you know, in an hour's time. Let's say it's straight through, okay, $50. They can go ahead and do, okay, maybe we lose $25. Let's say it's $150 cleaning.
Well, then it's different.
Then we can go ahead and charge an extra 100 to.
right, I would almost feel better if we have less revenue. And it's being used by the community, but it's being maintained and executed by somebody that's included in that fee. Does that make sense?
Everything except the West revenue.
Yeah, everything but the first part too.
Well, I mean, but also you want to get, wouldn't it be nice if this place was used 6 times a week and the community members were using it 6 times a week? And now maybe they'll start using the fire pit. I'm going to,
So
and
I
see where you're
guarantee,
going with it, but
I guarantee we are not the only HOA to have a property or piece of property that's available for rental. Can we not reinvent the wheel here? Can we test Patty to find out what the other HOAs do and what their process is? And if it's working for somebody else, can we copy it?
I can tell you what we did in the past, but it's very similar to what we're doing now. We
Your
took,
name isn't that.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you're looking for another HOA, my previous HOA was, when we did something like that, we would just charge the same thing we do for the deposit. The cash deposit, we didn't sit on, the cash.
Right.
And then if there wasn't up to par, we just kept it. And we didn't even, not even question about it. It just wasn't up to par. There were very few people that would leave it better than they found it, but some would leave it. They would get their money back over whatever, 30-day refund.
I mean, what's broken right now? What's not working? What
What are we trying to fix?
Well,
I'll try to tweak the policy.
Well, one that's broken is that he's in charge of the key and
There
he
you
should
go.
be in charge.
well,
of
I'm
the
not,
key.
it's not me, she has the key.
Right, I have the key.
But so somebody else has to, I mean, what I'm trying to say is. take it out of the list.
If somebody basically doesn't return the key,
We have something.
we
To go back
can't
in.
offer it to the next group that comes in, so.
But Jen,
before
you
we-
didn't come here like
No.
on Saturdays.
No, it has to renters first.
Before.
Okay, so here, pick up your key before Friday at 5 PM for your Saturday,
But what if I have 2 events here?
right? It could pose a problem. You don't have a solution.
That's the solution we're trying to fix, isn't it?
That,
There's somebody that's responsible for that. That's not these 3 people.
thank you.
We're talking about the key to the
Fire.
fire pit only.
It's a very, 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 very rare occurrence that. has
I don't think I've
happened.
ever seen anybody at the fire pit in the 5 years.
As I'm saying,
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have, just, I
if it,
have, but there's been no fire.
With it working or would they make their own fire? That was that time?
Question.
Okay,
Can you,
What
make-
about a key box?
can you, I was just gonna say that, can you make a lockbox that you use your fob to open, go and get the key?
well, that's expensive, but how about just a key box? But, yeah,
All right.
only it's a big lockbox, the big
I could
key.
make the.
again,
I know
and,
you can, it's a big key.
and she's my witness, all those things were questionable. You want to execute, you got it, execute the way you got it, I have no problem. Don't ask me to read something and think about it and not come back to.
All right, okay. What do we want to do?
Can you table this for further consideration?
We can table it, but I want to know what we're considering so we could reword it for the next. consideration.
No, I think execute the way you have it, and you can always fix it.
Have you, see what the world does, the rest of the world does? I mean, this,
Starling has a route,
Yeah. so.
That's not
Mostly
bad.
this size, I think.
But how many have a key that we're worried about? That's the thing. I mean, the key is really the factor that we're worried about at the moment, right?
See, I'm not.
No, I'm worried about cleaning.
The key.
And-
Between.
Because cleaning is a very subjective term, is what I'm trying to
Yes.
say.
I'm
Where
aware.
if you have a manager or somebody that they do it as a part-time thing and they're responsible for it. Then you walk in on Monday and it doesn't look good, you know who to go to and say, I'm sorry, you're not doing your job.
So the hot button is the cleaning. We can take care of the key a different way, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. He's not.
He is,
And-
But
the truth is,
the
he's not-
agreement
and
also-
just gets you out of the business.
Actually,
Coming down here.
help us out.
Example of agreement.
That was my real primary.
That, HOA member services has a bunch of them on.
Look at Will.
I can.
Well, I like to do it, see something all the time,
In other words,
Sorry.
and during the week.
somebody has a 7-person party.
They can't do that.
Jen, how many people are on that?
Not fitness center, the fitness center. not the
Oh, yeah.
gym. Unless they're right.
Okay,
Still.
Five people.
That's it.
is the Lake House Republic agreement moving on now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're tabling it until,
We're gonna try
Patty
to fix
can
this for
get some-
Tuesday, Patty. Somehow.
All right,
all right.
so we're gonna go out to the people.
Yeah, any comments, questions, resident input? Ma'am, in back?
Man, I will make the.
Everybody online. It's really the question.
You want to just.
Everybody left at one point. I couldn't figure out what they were leaving. Why they were here and why they left it.
Yeah.
For a long, long time.
Sagewood.
Some of them say that, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
actually,
is there-
today, I didn't
You
pull
put
it
out, say, are there any questions?
Yeah.
There's no
Sure,
check.
I don't know who this one must have left last.
Oh, you said that. Oh. Okay, so
Yeah,
Who said this is exciting?
we changed this a while back. but
So-
There's a disclaimer in our agenda. I love the Zoom participation due to audio restrictions and problems we've had with it. Zoom has been for monitoring,
okay,
not for, it's just.
okay, well, that's fine then. So are we gonna close? the
There
meeting?
is-
Well, wait, there was a social committee member.
There were social committee members and I got something.
But Joanna's not here, so.
No, we hit everything else.
Did you see the email where she said she's gonna have something on Friday night for the
I
eggs or something like
Send her
that?
back, yes,
Okay,
because she can't, the room is rented out, the room is rented out, so they can't use this.
okay.
Welcome me as my space.
Film making.
A huge state.
There's
So
gonna,
that's
like,
it.
2 or 3 shots,
Motion to close.
Easter party at the pool.
Question,
Yes,
are we in like open forum comment now?
we are, but I did miss 2 items that we need to back out of the way.
What do we miss?
We missed social committee, which I'm looking for right now. Give me 1 second. Thought I had names here, but I didn't.
Let me search for that. I'll raise my issue. So I assume in the HO, we have regulations that say that if you're gonna walk your dogs have to be on leash. You can't leave your dogs in the backyard unattended, things like that, right?
County law.
Yeah.
So if somebody has their dog attacked by another dog that is off leash. Can the HOA do anything about that, or is it specifically law enforcement has to handle that?
Law enforcement.
Okay, got it. Okay. Even though it's a violation of HOA policies.
So we're enforcing the leash law from the county.
Is it a count? So it's county law that your dog, when it's in your own backyard, has to be supervised, even if it's on a leash.
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Only
We
three
did-
animals per household. There's a whole bunch of different rules about dogs in this county. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if though it's in our bylaws or.
And then our,
Our charter, yeah.
You could go to them and say,
Like, could you fine for
There is
that
a-
like any other infraction?
We probably could.
Or warrant, like if somebody repeatedly has a dangerous dog in their backyard, running up and down, barking at people, there's nobody there supervising.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be considered a nuisance though?
yeah, the
Kind
barking
of a
is a
nuisance.
nuisance.
A nuisance is
So
different.
we can go after them with their nuisance.
It's a nuisance. If you read the rule on it, it'll be. a
or if the
nuisance.
same person is walking their dog off leash.
But if their dog is, if somebody is attacked or their dog's attacked by the dog is off leash, it's best to take it through.
If there's animal control.
Yeah, and actually, the dog, I think the rule is if it draws blood, then it's almost by definition an aggressive dog.
Was it your dog that
So
got bit?
you
in the fence?
responded to that,
Okay, you saw that, right?
Yeah, I was just asking for the person that asked on Facebook.
but she also was having the animal controls coming by too.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Your exact question was, what can the HOA do to help, or if anything?
It's to define-
Prevent the problem, as far as a nuisance, it also can give them a violation for not having them on a leash, or they can't enforce something that's happened that, the attack is something that the county has to do.
Especially the way it happened, because her dog was in the backyard.
Right. Yeah, the-
Why can we
the
fence?
fence.
And the other dog came into the fence.
Those aluminum fences, I had the same thing happen. There was a guy early on here, he would ride he would have his 2 boxers pull him on a skateboard around the neighborhood. And one day, my dog was in the backyard, and all of a sudden, his dog took a 90-degree turn, took him off the skateboard. His dog got loose and bit my dog through the fence and bent the aluminum fence. Because this was a good sized boxer.
Yeah.
And the guy was annoyed at me. I'm like, excuse me.
Annoyed at you.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like.
That's actually.
What you got, Tom?
Social committee, we have new members. We have Barbara Murray, Carrie Jones, Sherry Manny, Daisy Surrey, Norma Kent, and Debbie Andrews that would all like to consider for joining the social committee. I'll make a motion to approve that unless anyone has any.
Are there any, is this in addition to the current members?
There are no current members other than myself, Sean, and Joanne.
That's it.
I was gonna say, I know Sean is.
I try to be when I can, yeah.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Two
Congrats,
of them did
everyone.
attend, the meeting we just had, so that's great.
Yeah, and we're gonna get them all together.
And
Right.
Norma's, what your wife, correct, is it?
No, it's not like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, she has some great input. I was glad to talk with her.
And see, I think she wrote up something.
She did.
She did,
Got
she
it.
did, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, one last thing I forgot is the website. Anyone look at it?
Yes,
I didn't get a link.
oh, yes, you
Yes, you
did. It was on the agenda,
What's on the agenda?
the link
For the Facebook page.
for the Facebook page,
I which way I give you
I
a
didn't
quick
see it.
overview now.
Website.
and for the
Where's
website.
it on the agenda?
It was on the website.
I don't know. I did.
It's on the new business at the very bottom. I do read your stuff.
Oh, right then.
You're very-
Wow,
Yep, last thing at the bottom of it.
but it's not on the first part of the agenda.
No.
Did I miss it there?
I'm sorry, it's not on the first part. I got some.
Page five.
At the very bottom, I don't see it on mine.
It's on the very bottom of new business
Oh,
on
so
the
it's
page.
section
Page
14.
5.
It's section 14 that occurs after the adjournment, section 13.
Well, I'm all the way down at the bottom here, and I didn't,
It's a,
for alcohol uses.
It's in 6
Oh, it's up on it.
it's kept growing. We squeeze it again.
Well, why do you think I was like, let's approve all these things at one time?
I like where you're going with that. It's just-
I mean, some of these things just gotta go through. Okay.
Did I get you in that picture, fella?
You did. I'm still working through. Fantastic.
So the answer to, I looked at your website and I thought that was
I will look at it when I go home.
good stuff. Oh, he's got it pulled up.
I have it here just to show everyone a quick overview of
Ah.
what we will be paying for if we vote this in. All right.
Every one of our meetings will be exactly
Here.
the fish hawk
Oh.
thing is on everything,
Hey.
Facebook. You never know what you're on because they all look the same when you start.
Well, maybe I could fix that somehow, but
I'll kill the Facebook page.
that's.
I'll second.
So, okay, under here, got folio login.
That's
There'll
cool.
there'll be no confusion now. It's going to take the precedence right there. About Fish Hawk Ranch West, I'm still working on a little bit tweaking. If anyone wants to change any copy on anything, please just email to me. I'm all for it. This is just me beating my head again.
I'll have Marguerite look at it. She's
Great,
very-
yeah.
You don't want,
Yeah.
you don't want to have PHP and just do it, no?
I got the Encore, I got the Sagewood, I got Westlake. I was having trouble with Viper.
Can that be those a little darker? I mean,
What?
Maybe, but let's see it. Tell me that after you look at it. People don't view it. They're viewing it like this.
I use it like
These houses.
this.
And it's too light on you. Look at it, maybe.
Yeah, to make it bolder and brighter.
Okay.
But these
So I
actually.
do for my wife.
Houses in there.
I make that stuff so big, she's like, I can't handle it.
Oh, that's why.
She also has. Kids. so she-
Anyway, to answer your question, yes, I could change fonts and colors.
So,
Thank you.
so what the F on the bottom of,
Which one?
the F for Facebook? What the F?
Yeah, for Facebook. I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
But I mean, Sean's got his right up here and. it's
Yeah, the blue-
very
blue
light.
is-
The blue is very light.
Like, no, I'll look at that blue.
Thank you.
I'll stick Marguerite on it.
We'll go to that one last. So we're gonna skip meet the team. We're gonna go to documents. This is probably the greatest part of it all.
And this will be the budget file.
Great. The day I needed to work. It was working fantastic this morning.
Right?
You know, you should change that, you should change that error code and say, you don't have access to it.
Yes.
Works fine for me.
Does it work fine for you? I don't know what I did. Okay, whatever.
Check all cookies.
If that's all you do is hit accept all cookies and it's right. It's that simple. Even though I can't show you guys, look at home.
Chocolate chip, oatmeal, whatever cookies you want.
It loads our files really fast and it's a direct sync.
And will the budget be in there then? Like
It's all in there.
Perfect, because I mean, that's really the most important thing.
There's a direct sync from our file storage here. So this is a direct connection to Dropbox. Dropbox syncs everything. That's
I have a picture of our access control system. It says our new access control system.
It's great,
I got a link here for CDD.
I see that.
which is good.
Contact us, which I might add a little bit more info here, but this goes straight to me.
One mark in the back says 51.
And again, that's very light. You know,
I don't know how much I can darken that up, but
Got to spell out community development district, because people won't know what a CBD is.
It does say that on, let's have that link.
It's what they do when they wake up in the board meeting.
Here's your extra taxes. Look here.
No, it's seriously, there's people moved from other parts of the country that are like, what's CBD?
HOA, I like it. I'll do it, yeah. HOA calendar. Team up. We put it on Appfolio, we put it on Team Up. It's done deal. This works. The Appfolio doesn't sync, but that's fine. Gives everyone the information.
So it's for the school.
I get the couples and make it.
Yes. For sure.
Okay.
Meet the team. That's all of us.
You might as well have one source, right?
I haven't been-
Everyone kind of goes through this. If you don't like your photo, get me new one. I was using stuff off candidacy. Pretty much everything I pulled here is on candidacy. If you don't like the copy in here, send me some new copy.
You're gonna have to go.
Right?
I shot my picture yesterday.
Don, oh, what happened? Oh, you did send that to me today.
Yeah.
Trying to hold you against.
Told you I get done last night. I did.
Okay,
Mark, what's-
that's all I really have. I know you want to go work. I can add to this. We can fix it up later. Bottom line is cost right now is about, what did I say, $78 a month there.
78?
78?
78.
I could extract it because it's free.
It is. I'm sure.
It's one less machine.
76 monthly price. In addition to, we could sell our event tickets on here too, as a fully practical. E-commerce, so we could sell stuff.
A contract has nonprofit organization for free.
You know what, probably, let me contact them and see what they'll do for nonprofit. I know, because I have another nonprofit company, AJ Lynch Foundation, and we still pay, but it's cheaper. I think it's like $30 versus
Yes,
60.
but I am charged.
But, rental sign-ups.
Yes, can put rental signups on the
Like
list.
late house rental.
Yeah.
Those things to me.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you. I'm so glad that we're finally doing it.
Yeah, okay. Motion to approve that, expense.
I thought we were going to look at other expenses. Yeah, you said you could do it.
But it might be cheaper. I'm gonna email them. If it's cheaper, we're gonna get less. I'm looking for a motion as well.
The motion is to not to exceed $76.02,
Well,
right?
let's put it this way. I'll make the motion. Motion's not to exceed $100 on the website. That's the motion. Do it cheaper, I will.
Second.
And that contingency is just getting chewed out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dream about broken spigots.
Yeah. We're all good.
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Carried.
So we.
Anyone else? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Meeting adjourned.